Hey there, this is lovely Mykonos. Nice little tiny beach here. The famous windmills are right over the hill there. I will walk over and start walking through the main town. I'm only here for the afternoon. I came today from Paros on a ferry and I'm flying tonight to Paris. So today going from Paros to Paris, kind of cool. I will explain more of what's going on and talk more about Mykonos in a few minutes after a swim. Looks like he's doing some fishing, spear fishing. Very cool. Little taste of the local Greek islands experience. A very nice beach right there. And here we have one of the little churches, not with the blue and white, something a little different. And so I'm going to walk past the windmills into the main town, Mykonos town. Today is August 8th. It is 82 degrees Fahrenheit, that is 28 Celsius. And I will mention that my previous camera broke when I went in the water. And so you will probably hear wind noise because I can't put a wind device on this camera, my GoPro, because it will overheat otherwise. And so, pardon the wind, it will get better once we get back into the winding lanes. Beautiful little narrow lanes of Mykonos town, where you will see lots of blue and white and a little green. And so, I got a haircut today. Now, that might sound strange to those who saw my previous videos in which I already had a haircut, but I didn't like it. It was quite uneven. And so I got another one just here in Mykonos. Last one was 14 euros. This one was 35 euros, tipped her 5 euros, so 40 euros or like $41, $42. Everything is more expensive in Mykonos, including haircuts. All right, this is where the wind is really gonna screw things up. There you go. The iconic Mykonos town. Apparently it was designed in order to confuse pirates. The reason that it is so convoluted, a real maze, was so that invaders would get lost. Although all Greek towns in the traditional style seem to be pretty much a maze as well, but that is what they say. As you can see, it will probably be even busier right here this evening. People are out at the beaches exploring. Evening is when everybody converges on the restaurants. Let's get into the town. Go get lost like a pirate. Which way to go? Any old way is fine. It's all beautiful. So, as I mentioned, and as you can see, I have all my stuff. I came from Paros Island, where I had a great time with my friends Nicole and Christos for the past few days. I took a ferry this morning. That ferry was really expensive. So here is a general rule when it comes to the ferries, in my opinion. Is that the cheaper the ferry, the better the ferry. The more expensive ferries, they're faster, but they're usually smaller, and you don't really get the real Greek Islands ferry experience. So it was a really small boat. It was like 65 euros. No, I think even more. I think it was 74 euros, like $75 for like an hour and a half ferry ride. Just insane. Whereas the Blue Star ferries will be, for that same journey, maybe 15 euros, something like that, and it is much more fun. This ferry was like this small little boat with just seats enclosed, nowhere outside that you could go. It had like 2 levels, but they were both quite small. And so with those boats, I just want to get off them as soon as I can. Whereas with the large, like Blue Star ferries, they're like 5-6 levels, massive, lots of outside decks. You can get out onto the deck and feel the sun, the wind, look out at the islands. That is when you really get the real experience of, you know, being in the sea, in the Mediterranean, looking out and seeing the islands. So I recommend taking the slow ferries myself, even if it takes twice as long. Okay, we need to get more lost because we might get found here and end up at the like main sort of center of the town too soon. We need to see more of the town. Here we go. But as you can see, a little more color around here. Some green, some red, and whatever you call this, mauve or something. All right, all right, all right. Now we're getting properly lost. Where are we going? I don't even know. I don't even care. The general plan is to probably just take a seat somewhere, have a beer or two, and wait for my flight. And so the ferry arrived at like 11:30 here in Mykonos, and then my flight is at 8 p.m. So I want to get there, you know, 5:30 or so. And so I had 6 hours. Which I could have made good use of. I was seriously considering renting a car if they were available at the port there. Yes, us. Yes. And then drop it at the airport. I would have paid fairly good money, 100 euros or whatever, for that, to be able to put my backpack in it and go around and show you more of the island. But I didn't see any rental car companies right there at the port. There was a bus. I decided to just come into the town and deal with the haircut situation first. And at this point, it's like after 2 o'clock, I think. And so there's no point in trying to rent a car, if I could even find one. Mykonos is so outrageously expensive. Gyros, so the gyro pita sandwiches are 10 euros. They use the euro currency, but the sandwich is called the gyro. They should be 2 euros 50 cents or maybe 3 euros. They were 3 euros for a gyro on Mykonos Island. That is more of a local price, if not less. So 10 euros, 3 to 4 times as expensive for fast food in Mykonos. Okay, I'm pretty much properly lost, and so I don't even know what rental cars would be. 100 euros might be unrealistic, like maybe they're 200 a day, or who knows. Okay, I sort of vaguely recognize this, but just barely. So I will mention my previous experiences in Mykonos. I've been here twice before. The first time was in February 2018, so wintertime. The Greek islands in winter are so quiet. The towns are ghost towns, including Mykonos. So I stayed here in the main town for like 10 days, and I basically had it to myself. Nice sight here, but that wind is going to be a problem. Let's get back into the lanes and walk around a bit more. So when I stayed here in February, a couple of these restaurants were open. I think I ate at that one. I remember a glass of wine was 8 euros, which was quite outrageous. I'm sure it's even more now, especially in high season. And so I stayed somewhere back in here for 10 days in winter. It was warmish during the day and then cool in the evenings. But it was so peaceful, quiet. A very, very different experience. And then the second time was only for one night. I was going to Samos Island, and there was no direct ferry. And so I had to stay here for one night. And so I walked around the town then, and that was it. So I haven't really had the proper Mykonos summertime, or at least warmer weather experience. I never swam. At one time when I was here in the winter, it just wasn't warm enough that you really wanted to get in the water. So here I am for my third trip to Mykonos, and once again it is not a proper trip being here for only 6 hours, but perhaps I will come back again, preferably in the spring or the fall. April, May, late September, October is the best times to visit the Greek islands in general. It's cooler, it's less crowded, it's less expensive. August is the worst time to come to Greece, because it is when almost everybody comes to Greece. Also, you have the melt-to-me winds, and so it's been quite windy. You go to the beach and you're kind of getting blasted. I am going to avoid that hill. Let's go a little bit further into the town here, and then I'll take a seat somewhere. And so, tonight, flying back to Paris. I'm flying to Paris for a specific reason, and that is to replace my camera. My DJI that stopped working when I took it underwater, even though it is supposed to be a waterproof camera. Somehow the water seeped in, maybe because it's 2 years old and the gaps have loosened up or something, and so I need to go to a big city. That isn't really why I'm leaving Greece, just to replace the camera, but basically my plans got all derailed because of the lack of accommodation. When I went to Eos, I was only going to Eos for one night to catch a ferry to Mykonos. It wasn't a destination for me. The ferries just didn't work to go direct from Santorini to Mykonos. But then when I got to Eos that day, and then I had a ferry booked already for the next day, I checked accommodation on booking.com, zero, literally nothing. I had never seen that before in all of my traveling, was to go on booking.com, look for accommodation in a place, and have the page be blank, and it just said, there is nothing available. So I didn't want to go there taking a chance and just hoping I would find something walking around or whatever. And then I also looked at Folegandros. There were a couple of things available, places to stay, but they were super expensive, or the location wasn't good, and so it just wasn't going to work to go to the places that I wanted to go. Basically, the less popular islands, the smaller islands, have less accommodation, and therefore in the middle of peak season it all gets full up, whereas other places like Eos and Paros had more accommodation available. Mykonos, forget about finding anything reasonable. Anytime during the summer, basically. You might be able to find something, but you'll need to be prepared to pay a heck of a lot, at least a couple $100 a night, something like that. So I basically just decided to change plans. Well, I am pretty properly lost. I think I'm basically making a circle, and we'll end up back somewhere near the windmills. That's what it feels like. Let's see here where it gets busier, and I'll end this video soon. Little Venice, okay. Yeah, so I was here before. But let's just go show the Little Venice area. Okay, I don't want to walk through their restaurant with a backpack. Let's see if I can get around. At least I didn't show this area before, so something new. Okay, this might work.
But we can set. Did you see the menu?
Back to where we started. All right, time to take a seat and find a cold beer. So here's the other reason that I need to come back to Mykonos again sometime. Delos Tours. Delos is a small island off the coast of Mykonos, where there are the ruins of an ancient city that are supposed to be some of the best Greek ruins in Greece. So I've wanted to see them for years. I really wanted to go when I was here in the winter, but there were no boats going at that time. So I'll just have to come back once again.